Okay, so it seems like recently there's been a little bit of a situation going on with the Phase Connect kind of space, right? In terms of artists and also one member of Phase Connect, which has been involved in this situation, which obviously is involving an artist called Poopy. Again, sorry if I said it wrong, it might be Poopy, but again, that kind of sounds like I'm saying Poopy. So I'm just going to say Poopy because that sounds a little bit better, but sorry if I got it wrong. And of course, yeah, they make a lot of art, especially with Lumi, who's in Phase Connect. I can't scroll down on this art because I will get demonetized, if not taken down. But of course, you can kind of tell the kind of art they make, and they make a lot of really great art, right? And of course, recently there's been some kind of stuff going on with people being called out for AI accusations, right? And it turns out that, you know, obviously after all of this has gone on and the post has now been deleted as well, it was false, right? The AI accusations coming from PP were false. They say, hello, after a lot of thinking and watching you guys pointing out the way this might have been human work in very different ways, I'm actually convinced I made a huge, insane mistake with my initial claim. I already apologized with the artist, and I also want to apologize to you all. It was a very abrupt and frankly stupid thing to jump to into a conclusion without proper, more solid proof. I felt secure enough on the claim that I just kind of wanted to help raise awareness to something that I thought it was a bad thing and ended up hurting people that didn't deserve it. I will delete the OP, but leave this for a bit. I'll keep focusing on my work and refrain to make mistakes like this in the future. Thanks for being patient with me. Now, obviously, yeah, it has been deleted, so I can't actually see what the original post was and what they were, you know, specifically claiming, but we do know it was to do with some AI stuff and essentially saying they are AIing things. Now, I'm not sure if they were saying they were AIing things to make it look like their work, or if they were just saying it in general and they think it was AI. Again, at the end of the day, my opinion on AI is like kind of, I don't really care at the end of the day, but obviously some artists do care, and, you know, this is what... you know, that's kind of the situation at hand, right? And I do think whenever it comes to AI art and whatever and calling people out for AI art, I can understand an artist calling someone else out if they're using their style or using, you know, feeding their artwork into a model to create a similar piece of art. I can understand that, and I can understand, you know, someone being unhappy with that, an artist being unhappy with that. What I don't understand, though, is people going after just random people in the community, right, whenever they have nothing really to do with them. And again, I don't know which one was the case for Pupi in this example, but obviously, you know, that is just something to kind of consider. I think that, you know, a lot of artists sometimes call out other artists when, to be honest, it's not really affecting them. Of course, you know, it might affect them in terms of like the whole artist community and AI and all of that kind of stuff, right? But in terms of like them actually affecting them and their artwork, it never does, and they kind of take it upon themselves to call them out, and sometimes it can end up being wrong, and this is one of these examples which end up being wrong, right? And it seems that they did apologize for that, and I think that it is great that they have apologized and that they haven't just like kind of like stuck it out, because some people will make a false accusation like this and then will just kind of like wait it out and just wait for it to blow over, and the other person has to kind of live with that, which obviously isn't great at all. And obviously the artist that they were talking about is Headache, or I think that's how you say it, Headachy, well, whatever you want to say. Essentially, yeah, a digital artist who makes a lot of art stuff as well. It looks really, really nice. So definitely go and follow them, because obviously it seems like a lot of people have been pointing out the fact that this was not AI and that they are 100% an artist. So again, that is great to see. But I think one of the things that kind of I guess exploded the situation even further, obviously Pubi's a big artist anyways, 101,000 followers, but also Cleo actually made an apology in response to this as well, because I think Cleo was also getting behind the accusations and supporting them, and obviously, you know, I can understand it as well from a VTuber point of view, not wanting to be associated with it and not wanting the bad kind of, I guess, rep that you would get with, you know, AI art. As I said, you know, you can feel differently personally about it, but I think as a VTuber who interacts with artists, you can understand why it wouldn't look very good, especially with a lot of the stuff going on at Phase Connect, right? Let's be real, Phase Connect haven't had exactly the best of months recently. So you can understand why people, you know, would be looking to find literally anything to bash any of the talents, right? And they say, I will apologize as well for jumping the gun. I'm not knowledgeable whenever it comes to art, but I am very wary of accidentally supporting AI-made art. Please do not send any nastiness towards Pupi, as that does not help the situation any further. Mistakes can be made, but anger and vitriol does not help. I hope we can move on and continue to support the human art. And then shortly after, obviously, a little bit after, they put the art was by Headache or Headace, whatever Headace. I think it's Headache. Oh, I think it even says it in their banner. And I've retweeted it if you want to support them. So it seems like she has also put it on her account as well, the artwork that was done for her, which I think is great. And obviously that is, a good apology, at least in my opinion. This was the art, apparently, which was blowing up. And it was a piece of Cleo art, by the way. I think that was the one that was being called out, was the this piece or a similar piece to do with Cleo, and that is why she ended up retweeting it and things, and kind of supporting the claims. But obviously now we know that the claims are false, and it seems like a lot of people and artists were calling out those claims to be false, and they're now apologizing for that. Obviously, Cleo's got a ton of support here, 2.6k. A lot of people saying people attacking Pupi and his art for this mistake are pathetic, not going to lie. And obviously, I can understand. I think there definitely has been, a mistake made here. It seems like a lot of people are not very happy with Pupi at the moment, with 188,000 views and only 900 likes. That ain't good. But of course, they've tried to make at least the best out of the situation where they have, royally messed up. Let's be real, they have messed up, and even they admit that they have messed up. But I think they've done everything they really can to kind of right this wrong, right? And obviously, it doesn't change the fact that they've done it and that they did call out someone without, of course, kind of looking into it further and having like definitive proof. But people are still, going to be angry, right? You're saying, please make sure that Cleo knows that it's not actually AI because she trusted your initial claim. And obviously, yeah, Cleo did then apologize for that as well. Also said, I ruined an artist's credibility and ruined their chance to be in a raffle done by a content creator, but teehee, I admit I'm wrong now afterwards, so like it doesn't matter. And obviously that's, Cleo interacting with them, said, shouldn't you at least give a shout out to the artist you mistakenly ran a hit piece on then? That this could be a career ending for an artist. Please be mindful about the impact of your huge audience next time. And yeah, that is 100% true. These people are right? This person has 100,000 followers. You got to be more careful whenever it comes to making these kind of claims. You got to have like solid proof, and I mean solid proof that this is happening, rather than seeing it from what I see. Obviously, at least I think personally that they think that maybe there's some kind of elements in it that they thought was AI. But sometimes that's not enough, right? Sometimes it's things looking like AI, things appearing to look like AI just from like looking at the artwork doesn't always tend to be enough proof. A lot of the time people will, obviously go into trying to find a way to see if they have said that they've used AI, or at least, find just any kind of evidence whatsoever of them mentioning AI or using it, and that's how they do it. As I said, I don't have personally any problem with it, but of course you can understand why artists and stuff get this becomes a drama or whatever. And again, you can also have your own personal opinion on it as well, right? And there's been a lot of people as well also talking about it on the VTuber drama thing. Cleo supports false AI accusations against a small artist. Later on, writes an apology in which she doesn't mention the victim. She does mention the victim later on, just asks to not send hate towards the accuser and says to move on. Over an hour later, finally mentions who the victim was in the reply. And of course, yeah, I think that's the main thing that a lot of people got angry at in both of the responses, from Cleo and from Pupi, essentially saying like, hey, can you like show the artwork? Can you like kind of give them a shout out? Because yeah, obviously this was 6 hours ago that they put it. I think this was 12 hours ago, if my math is correct. So again, obviously people, it took them 6 hours to put up a kind of shout out to the original post. And obviously apparently it took an hour for Cleo. But again, sometimes, it just slips the mind. I don't really hold them personally to that. I don't think that they're, horrible people for not like shouting them out. They obviously did it in the end. And it's one of those things that kind of slips your mind in terms of like, what can I do to kind of make this better, right? People say, who else but Face Connect? Obviously some people, kind of adding onto the Face Connect stuff, right? Saying, nice to see she reversed course to some degree, though it is uncharacteristic. Though it is an uncharacteristic screw up from her. There's got to be something in the coffee. That I mean, she's like a 50-year-old. I wouldn't blame her. I said, more of this from the community, please. We need more good examples on how to make up for mistakes. This is better clout than double downing on a mistake. Which, yeah, I mean, again, I think a lot of people, especially in this comment section, are happy that there was some kind of apology, right? They didn't just double down on it to try and make them seem more right when it's very clear that they were in the wrong. They've actually like apologized straight up and just went, yeah, no, that's my bad, and shouted her out, right? People saying C-. It's getting hard to tell what's AI, especially if you're at Cleo. I'm pretty sure to say Cleo's age, but she's probably the only phase member who would actually backpedal and realize the mistake she made and apologize for it. Cleo the GOAT as usual. We should expect more and more artists to be subjected to AI accusations because AI is just getting that good. We officially are in late game with AI IMO, and it sucks. I hate having to doubt half the art I look at, having to constantly question everything. And obviously, yeah, that is their opinion in terms of AI. Just remember that everybody has their own kind of opinions on that. Said I liked her, but seeing how she threw baseless accusations, make a non-apology, and then mention the accused one. She's forced by the PR man. Another day, another phase member turns out to be a piece of, blank. They say, honestly, if she was held to the same level of scrutiny for making mistakes, we'd all probably be pieces of shit, which, yeah, to be honest, I think, especially whenever it comes to being in, like, the public space, right, you're going to be under much more scrutiny for something like this, and there's always going to be, like, the kind of, I don't know, like, the, the train of people that are going to be going after her for this and whatever, especially with all of the phase connect stuff kind of on top of that. But again, I think if anybody else was to make this mistake, or if you were to make this mistake in real life, then of course I feel like it wouldn't be as big of a topic, right? But of course, there's been people as well, they've been saying thank you so much for the support. Obviously this was 2 days ago, and they're saying they might be making a VGen soon with an invite code. And obviously this person says, before you start making a VGen account, can you explain this? And obviously they link the Puby post where they're essentially calling them out for the AI stuff. And obviously they said, I won't try to prove anything under that post. The hunt for AI is everywhere right now, and I'm usually glad when it's used for good. In this case, however, the person pointed to a strand of hair as proof, but it was actually drawn with a hard edge CSP brush ID 2132304. So they provided the brush that they used, and then transformed, which can cause pixelation/noise. It's said that any technical noise in an artwork is now immediately labeled as AI. At the same time, I completely understand people's concerns since I haven't been active on this account for so long. Obviously, it said the accuser admitted to the false allegations. Now, do you want to apologize for headache for being rude and blindly believing the false accuser? And they said, I have. Again, I don't know, but obviously that's great that some people have been turning on that and essentially kind of changing their opinions on that, because obviously this has been cleared up. Obviously some people as well come from websake, obviously 81,000 followers they have, saying 100k artist casually smearing a random 1k artist on the TL. Don't do this without conclusive evidence. You're clearly not skilled enough to back up this level of evil maxing. So yeah, obviously I think, yeah, as I said, there has got to be some kind of look at some of the kind of stuff that they're saying. Also, apparently this was the original post that they're saying it was. I don't know, but essentially, yeah, they were just going after this artist's style in general. A lot of their posts have a similar style, right? They say overall, all the shapes and lines are consistent. Every brush and stroke are identifiable. All artifacting familiar to any artist with a lick of experience. So regular blending method versus method for softer edges, and a gradient map layer effect for the hair. So they explain literally all of the different kind of tools and stuff they use to get the effects that maybe, could look a little bit AI, but obviously aren't AI at all. And obviously it's just a technique that they use in terms of digital art. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the moral of the story is don't make claims against people unless you 100% have proof, like undeniable proof that it is AI, not just like a, hey, I think it looks like it, I think it looks like this or that. And yeah, it's got to be something like kind of pretty undeniable, right? Before making a big claim like this over on a platform like Twitter, where this can obviously turn into a big problem, especially for the artist, and of course can be career ending or career like interfering, I guess, with potentially becoming an artist, right? And it can affect them pretty heavily, especially if they have a smaller audience, which again, I don't really like to play the smaller audience card, so again, I'm not really going to factor in that as much, but I do think if you're going to make any claim, no matter the size, you got to at least have like 100% certainty that this is going on, else it just never really works out, right? But yeah, obviously I don't think anybody deserves to be hated on or whatever. I feel like it's been kind of sorted out now already. And yeah, it seems like everything has kind of gone back to normal. When I say gone back to normal, there's been a little bit of hate, obviously, towards PB and obviously Cleo as well. But again, I think that it will probably blow over in a couple of days. I'm going to be honest. And obviously, there's a lot of people, as I said, looking to kind of push this FaZe Connect hate even further from the original situations that went on with like Jelly and stuff like that. So again, that's about all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, good game subs. Use my code Keza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. They've also got 20% off this week. So if you want to get stuff, I would definitely get it now because you get extra off for this week. So yeah, definitely go use that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.